So let's start with some international news first, where US President Donald Trump has officially recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, raising fears of a violent backlash across West Asia. President Trump has said that as a part of this decision, the United States will also be constructing a brand new embassy complex in the city of Jerusalem. Now, Donald Trump has also said that the US government is not taking a position on any final status as of now, but by recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, the American government is just reflecting the realities as they are on the ground today in Israel. The US Vice President Mike Pence will be visiting West Asia in the coming days. He'll also be visiting Bethlehem despite the tense relations between Palestine and the United States. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has hailed the decision by the US President as a historic one. He also made a pitch for other countries to move their embassies to Jerusalem. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said that there is no alternative to the two-state solution which is possible after Trump's decision. He's also further added that Jerusalem was a final status issue that should be resolved only through direct talks. The Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has also rejected US President Donald Trump's announcement that he was recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital and moving his country's embassy there. In a pre-recorded speech that was played on Palestinian television, Abbas said that Trump's statement showed that the US had withdrawn from its role as a peace mediator in the Middle East. And Palestinians, for their part, switched off the Christmas lights in Bethlehem and the city of Ramallah in protest at Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. The Christmas trees in the West Bank and Gaza Strip also were switched off, and the Palestinians took to the streets to protest against the move. Now, in Turkey, several hundred protesters demonstrated outside the US consulate in Istanbul to condemn a decision by the United States to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. The protest was largely peaceful, although some of the demonstrators also burned papers with Israeli flags on them. Protesters also wrote "Free Palestine" on the walls of the consulate. Now, Turkey has called on Washington to reconsider the move. The Syrian government has strongly also condemned Donald Trump's move. In a statement, the Syrian Foreign Ministry has deemed the decision in contempt of international law and has said that the US is ignoring its responsibilities to help maintain international order. The President Donald Trump's eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., has returned to the Congress on Wednesday and has faced questions from lawmakers about the alleged collusion between Russia and his father's presidential campaign. But the session was closed door, and Trump Jr. had earlier testified to the Senate Judiciary Committee in September. The Senate Intelligence Committee also wants to question him on the alleged collusion ahead of the presidential elections of 2016 in the United States. The thousands of pro-unity demonstrators came together in Barcelona demanding the return and imprisonment of former Catalan President Carles Puigdemont. Now, the protesters have blamed Carles Puigdemont for ruining Catalonia, and the demand of putting former Catalonian president to jail comes a day after Spain dropped an international warrant for his arrest. The thousands of Catalans from all over Europe are expected to gather in Brussels today to show their support to ousted government members such as sacked leader Carles Puigdemont. The ousted Catalan President Carles Puigdemont earlier met with his supporters in Brussels. Russian President Vladimir Putin has declared victory over the Islamic State militants on the banks of Syria's Euphrates River. Vladimir Putin, in a statement, said that the military operation in the area has now finished, and he also added that the focus will now be on the political process that will eventually involve presidential and parliamentary elections. The United States has urged Russia to pressurize the Syrian government of Bashar al-Assad to return to the Geneva peace talks. The Syrian delegation had quit the talks that began last week after the opposition had demanded the resignation of President Bashar al-Assad. The Greek police have fired tear gas at protesters at Athens on the 9th anniversary of the killing of a teenager by the police. Hundreds of demonstrators have protested in tribute to Alexandros Grigoropoulos, who was shot dead by the police personnel in 2008. The protests have ever turned violent as some of the protesters hurled stones, flares and also a petrol bomb at the police. Greece's Supreme Court will decide on the 13th of December whether to extradite a Russian to the United States, where authorities want to put him on trial for laundering a whopping $4 billion via a Bitcoin platform. Alexander Winnick, a Bitcoin consultant, has denied the charges and is fighting his extradition to the United States. The British royals Prince William and Duchess of Cambridge Catherine have visited the Children's Global Media Summit in Manchester to express their support for children's mental health. The couple interacted with children and also spoke about their experience of mental health. The 79-feet-tall Montana Christmas tree has been lit outside the U.S. Capitol Hill. 11-year-old Ridley Brand, mayor of Montana, helped light the U.S. Capitol Christmas tree at an outdoor ceremony on Wednesday. Now let's move on to some news from India, where after aggressive campaigning from both the BJP and the Congress, today is the last day of Gujarat's first phase of election campaigning. From BJP, its top guns Amit Shah and firebrand leader UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath will take charge of the campaigning on the last day with various rallies across the state. Yogi Adityanath will also kick off his rallies after offering his prayers in Gujarat's Somnath temple after Rahul Gandhi has already visited the place. The London Mayor Sadiq Khan has said that the British government should apologise for the Jallianwala Bagh massacre in Amritsar. Sadiq Khan said that the British government should apologise for the 1919 Jallianwala Bagh massacre in Amritsar, calling it a tragedy one must never forget. Sadiq Khan has also paid tribute to the martyrs of the Jallianwala Bagh massacre on Wednesday during his visit to the city of Amritsar. With a section of the opposition parties raising doubts about the use of electronic voting machines just days ahead of the high-profile Gujarat Assembly elections, West Bengal Chief Minister and TMC Supremo Mamata Banerjee has now stressed on the need to bring transparency in the entire electoral process. She has said that the people have started questioning the voting process through EVMs, and the TMC will request the Election Commission to bring in electoral reforms as soon as possible. The Maharashtra government has issued a circular asking the central government offices to use Marathi language in its day-to-day work. The state government has also directed the use of Marathi at railway stations, airport and also during government examinations. Though Marathi is the official language in Maharashtra under the Maharashtra Official Languages Act of 1964 and Amendment Act of 2015, its use is not very rampant. The Army Chief General Bipin Rawat has said that there's been a politicization of the armed forces and the military should be somehow kept away from politics. The Army Chief said that in the good old days, the norm was that women and politics were never discussed within the forces. An earthquake with 30 kilometers depth and measuring 5.5 on the Richter scale jolted Rudraprayag in Uttarakhand last evening. The epicenter of the earthquake was found about 121 kilometers east of Dehradun near Joshimath, and strong tremors were also felt in parts of Uttar Pradesh, Delhi and NCR. As actor Vishal's nomination has been rejected by the Election Commission, now the superstar has said that he will be backing another independent candidate and will continue to work for the constituency. Meanwhile, the actor has also tweeted that President Ramnath Kovind and Prime Minister Narendra Modi about his rejection of his nomination. And actor Vishal's nomination was rejected by the returning officer, and he was told to approach the Madras High Court as a last resort. The rapper Sean Diddy Combs has been ranked as the world's highest paid musician. Combs, who is also a hip-hop producer and entertainer, earned an estimated whopping $130 million for the year, according to Forbes, mostly from his Bad Boy Family reunion tour and the sale of his Sean John clothing line. The singer Beyonce is ranked second with earnings that are estimated to be about $105 million. So 6 women have a lawsuit against Harvey Weinstein, claiming that the movie mogul's actions to cover up assaults amounted to civil racketeering. The lawsuit further claims that a coalition of companies and people worked with Weinstein to conceal his widespread sexual assaults and harassment on women.